And we're live.
Mike O'Mara, Radio Entertainment. You can listen to The Mike O'Mara Show at MikeO'MaraShow.com.
Let's get started.
It's The Mike O'Mara Show with Mike O'Mara, Oscar Santana, and Rob Spiewak. Now, here's Mike.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Mike O'Mara Show. We are heard all over the place. Wonderful towns like, I have a vacation home in the hamlet of... Can you turn that down a little bit?
You bet.
It's so loud.
Dismal Niche, Washington, Rye Brook, New York, Paso Robles, California, Leavenworth, Kansas, and Audubon, New Jersey, along with Vilnius, Lithuania.
Oh, I have something regarding that. I got
You
a
do?
message. What was the thing that the grandmother would say?
Labas, Joey.
It means hello.
Okay, well, that's what it would. It would be a greeting, and
Yeah.
she was very Lithuanian, and God.
I was hoping it meant
boy,
shut up or something.
When you make me reminisce, I sit there and I think about, oh my God, I think about like time and just. I think about age, and I think about death.
No, don't
and
think about that.
I do, because
You
it's like,
have to.
she's so long gone.
Yeah.
And now Joey's, both my childhood friend Joey's parents are both gone. And now, people that wrote about me are dying. And, I'm sorry.
But Jason Church of Surf City, New Jersey is alive. And he's the one that says, I had a girlfriend from Kaunas, Lithuania for 2 years. Labas means hello. So that lives on. That's good.
Labas.
I met a lot of his family members from Lithuania, and I'm sure that gentleman who wrote in, I'm sure that the girlfriend was beautiful.
Fetching.
Anyway, I don't know.
You're clever, Oscar.
Eastern European.
Yes. Labas, Mike.
We begin today with a guest. We are very, very pleased once again to welcome to the show Mr. Reed Galen, the co-founder of the Lincoln Project, dedicated to Americans protecting democracy. The Lincoln Project is holding accountable those who would violate their oaths to the Constitution and would put others before Americans. He is an independent political strategist whose years of experience stem from working for President George W. Bush, Senator John McCain, and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. To find out more about the Lincoln Project, if you have been living underground, you wouldn't know what they are. But I think every American should know who they are now. And you can listen to their podcast and. Please visit LincolnProject.us. It's LincolnProject.us. Are you really playing patriotic music for Reed? Delighted to have Reed Galen on the program today. Reed is a co-founder of the Lincoln Project, dedicated Americans protecting democracy. The Lincoln Project is holding accountable those who would violate their oaths to the Constitution and would put others before Americans, which is pretty appropriate for today. He is an independent political strategist whose years of experience stem from working with President George W. Bush, Senator John McCain, and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. To find out more about the Lincoln Project and to listen to their podcast, go to LincolnProject.us. Reed, it is a pleasure to have you on today on a very, very dismal anniversary in American history. How are you, Mr. Galen?
I am well, thanks, Mike, and it's always great to be back. It's as I think I've said on my previous appearances, it's hard to believe how long I've been listening to you and Rob and now Oscar and getting to know everybody there, and with Podville Media, who produces our podcast. It's just been a great relationship, and you're right. Today's a tough morning. It's a tough morning to think back just a year ago. First of all, it's hard to believe how fast time moves comparatively from the first year of the pandemic to now.
It is. It is.
But now here we are. The president and the vice president will be making remarks shortly up there. I think for the first time, I think that the current sitting president of the United States, duly elected, as it were, is going to hold a former president accountable for something like this. And it's just one more unprecedented thing in years of unprecedented things.
I am going to tell you how I feel about this situation, as we have been probably in the last 48 hours inundated with media coverage of this anniversary of this insurrection. There, obviously is a divided America. We have one side where it's not that big a deal. It didn't really happen. He was the duly elected president of the United States, and it was a sham, and it was stop the steal. And then you have the other side of Americans like myself who think this was pretty scary for democracy. This is horrible. And the feeling I get, and I know, even without talking to a lot of people about it, because where the hell can I go in Southwest Florida to talk to anybody about anything like-minded with me? It doesn't exist, except the guy that I played golf with yesterday. But he was from Boston. Anyway, getting back to that, I feel an anger, Reed, and a frustration, not at the insurrectionists. I feel a frustration that with all the talk and every major network and yap, and all the committee hearings and all that this is not going to amount to a pile of warm spit. I feel that way more about this issue than any other issue. I get frustrated because I hear so much talk, but I feel as though anyone who would be responsible, either on the Hill, in the White House, for what went down a year ago on January 6th, there will not be accountability. That at the end of the day, everybody's going to make speeches, everybody's going to talk about this, and then everybody's going to walk away. And I think that, if I can just finish the question, I know it's too long, that the way I also feel about this is that the people that don't think it's that big a deal or that it's justified don't have the idea of how we feel that this was so dangerous for democracy. That's my question is, do you think is there going to be any change? Is anybody going to be held really accountable for this?
Well, I think your concern and your frustration is justified. They're the only people so far that look like are going to be held accountable for what happened a year ago today are the 700-800 people who actually stormed the Capitol building. The 1-6 committee now says they have all of these documents, they have text messages. That's fine. Congress doesn't prosecute people. The Justice Department does. Right. And I think in this country there is a significant mental block, in Washington, D.C., to believe that you can and should prosecute people for their bad acts, especially if they are national political figures, i.e., what happens if you indict a Donald Trump? What happens if you indict Mark Meadows, his former chief of staff? What does that do? Does the Justice Department want to be involved in politics? What I would say is, you got to get rid of the old line thinking. The old time is dead, right? It's dead. It's dead in politics. It's dead in life. It's dead in everything in this country. We're in a new era right now. You have to look at it that way. If you don't prosecute those who are held responsible, as you expressed eloquently, then what you do is say there is no sanction. There will be no consequence for this behavior, which, as we have seen, will lead to more of this behavior. I think it also tacitly says political violence is now in the mainstream of this country. Use it, and maybe you'll be held to account. Maybe you won't be. I think the other thing, too, Mike, is we should be clear about who's concerned about this stuff and who isn't. If you look at recent surveys, significantly more self-identified Republicans say that American democracy is at peril than self-identified Democrats. Something like 60% of Republicans and only about 34% of Democrats. And so I think you also have an incongruity between people who see the threat and what threat they see, which is those Republicans believe that Donald Trump won the election in 2020 and that Joe Biden is an illegitimate president and we're basically in an occupied country. It's bananas, right? You couldn't put it on a Fox 24 episode and make it any more crazy than it really is.
And that's what I was going to say. You finished my thought when you said that the Republicans who feel that we have a problem believe that the election was stolen, and that's the divide once again where we get to the divide. Now, is there a school of thought out there that you're aware of that says, well, nothing's really going to happen. It's time to heal. It's time to say, picking this scab of the insurrection is going to do nothing but further divide the United States. I don't agree with that, but are there people that are saying that? Are there people that you're aware of that say, let's just move on?
There are. I think they're wrong. There's a pretty significant DC-based political organization that said something like that on social media yesterday, and they were ratioed unlike nothing I've ever seen. As well, let's be clear: Twitter is a cesspool of human behavior and thought. But it was interesting to see that very few people who care about this, I think, like so many of us do, thought that somehow you can just say, oh, it's all okay and we should let it go away. I think, and then there this sort of what we would have called sort of mainstream conservative thought, whether or not it's the Wall Street Journal or sort of what's left of the conservative intelligentsia in Washington, D.C., who say it was bad, but it wasn't an insurrection, it was a riot. And, everybody needs to, take a step back. Everybody needs to lower the temperature. I think that's, frankly, just another way of letting folks off the hook. Because remember that it's not just that people did this. It's that in the lead up to January 6th and in the aftermath of it, far too many Republican leaders said nothing at all. Said things they thought they needed to say about, how upset they were, like Kevin McCarthy said, we can't have this violence, et cetera, et cetera. And then as soon as they realized, to your earlier point, that there wouldn't be any consequences for it, that window closed and they went back and said, oh, yeah, Donald Trump really won.
And yesterday, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, comes out and says, as long as it takes. I found that statement to be interesting simply because in
How long does it take?
Well, in a political landscape also, Merrick, you got 4 years. Let's be honest, you got 2.5 years to do this in the election cycle because it's a political deal. I'll ask you to put. I hope I don't get depressed by your answer, but I know I might be. In the real world, is there the slightest possibility that anyone in political leadership or in politics at all, any congressperson, the president or the White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, will come anywhere near any legitimate prosecution for the events of January 6th? Will that ever happen?
If it does, I think it will happen as they bring a lot more of these. I mean, think about it more like the mob, right? Which, these are gangsters in their own way. They will look for the smaller fish that they can try and flip. Now, the bigger point, Mike, is that stuff doesn't start happening until an FBI agent shows up on your doorstep, right? Because that'll scare the hell out of almost anybody. And start to say, look, you're not really the one we want. You know who we want. It would be best if you just told us what you knew. And if you lie to us, you'll go to prison because we'll find out. But the Justice Department and the FBI have to be willing to do those things. And there are a lot of people who I think are, let's call it in the second or third or fourth outer ring away from Trump, who probably didn't really understand. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't understand what was going to happen. They thought that this was going to be a rally on the mall. But now they're in a bad spot. And, a lot of people, pushed a lot of dark money around into places. The Republican Attorneys General Association, right? These are chief law enforcement officers in states. Their money, their organization funneled money into some of this stuff. So I think it could be. But to your point, they're really going to have to hit the accelerator.
Yeah, and I don't see it happening. Go ahead, Oscar.
Reed, thank you for making the time on such an important day. For me, not just working on the podcast, available now on all major podcast platforms.
And if I may say something nice about Rob Ford.
Yes, please.
He's an excellent producer.
He is. Mike,
that's wonderful.
Do you have anything to say about that?
That's I would ask the man next to you about that. He loves Rob Ford.
Rob Ford is excellent. In all manners.
Thanks.
As I was going to say, your latest episode of the podcast really breaks down of where we're at as far as a demarcation line in Trumpism. A lot of people still ask me, and you do a great job in the pod of explaining, but what does the Lincoln Project stand for these days? Where are you at as a group and as a team?
So when we started, it's hard to believe we've only been around a couple of years, because the gray, I have almost as much gray in my beard as Mike does now.
Almost.
Almost. But, when we started, it was specifically to be a bunch of former Republicans who were looking to help defeat Donald Trump in 2020. And in our way, in our little part, we helped, I believe, do that. It quickly, after January 6th, expanded to something far different. Which is not just about being, against Donald Trump, and he will come back, but about being pro-democracy in this country. And so, again, none of us are Republicans anymore. We have several Democrats. A lot of our staff are Democrats. But we don't think about it so much as right versus left or R versus D as pro-democracy versus authoritarian, which is whoever it is going to say we have to stand up for the rule of law, free and fair elections, the ability of anybody who wants to cast a ballot to do so, and for the counting of those ballots to happen in the way that we know is officious, legal, and fair, then that's the side we're going to be on. Unfortunately, right now, from our perspective, we only have one pro-democracy party, and it happens to be the Big D Democratic Party. We're not a policy organization. We're not going to get into Build Back Better or any of that stuff, right? We're about voting rights, if we're going to talk about Washington, D.C. stuff, and we're about ensuring that, when the time comes, that we've helped build the biggest, broadest, deepest coalition across the country of voters who care about American democracy and who know that without it, all of the things that we all take for granted, most of them start to go away, and it happens in a hurry, right? When folks like this take over, you see it in Turkey, Poland, Hungary, wherever, Argentina, wherever it is. When these folks take over, bad things start happening in a hurry. And so from our perspective, it's finding a way to ensure that we can convince enough voters in these places like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, that without American democracy, all of the other policy issues you may care about, the environment, taxes, whatever it might be, that stuff's all out the window. And so from our perspective, we got 11 months now, basically, to make that case to enough Americans. And, then we're right into 2024.
Are you optimistic? I feel that the sense I get, and I know more Republicans than I do Democrats, I get a sense of voter fatigue. I get a sense of the fatigue, even from extremely right-wing minded people, that they are very, very tired of all of this, that they are tired of the divide. A lot of them don't want to talk about it. What is your state of mind? Are you optimistic, or do you think that there is one side of this equation, the Republican Party, setting the table for single-party rule where they're never going to lose another election, and that's just the way it's going to be, and they can do anything they want? Are you optimistic that you can fix this?
Well, we'll be part of fixing it. I'd like to believe that our little band and the millions of folks that follow us are enough to turn the tide, and God bless it, maybe we might be. I'm more optimistic now than I was even, say, a month ago.
Good. Right.
First and foremost, we have this redistricting, gerrymandering that happens every 10 years. It looked like that the Republicans this year might start with like a 14-seat advantage going into 2022. It now looks like that's going to be about a wash. That's great. Now, that also means that Democrats learned how to play the game in their states because Republicans have been doing this for decades. I would also say that there are more people who are committed to the idea of the rule of law, democracy, and frankly, decency than there are who aren't. The difference is the people who aren't, at least in this current context, are much louder. They're much better organized at this point, and they're very well resourced. We should not underestimate that, right? And they're relentless. And the last piece is that I believe that when the time comes, look, there's going to be a lot of external stuff, whether or not it's COVID or the economy, that have an outsized effect on things that none of us can control. But I do believe that we have the opportunity to hold serve this year. But remember, it's going to be election by election, from here until, I don't know, whenever it is, I've already gone off to be a goat farmer somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there are reasons for optimism, but optimism cannot equal complacency, if that makes sense.
It does. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, it's so weird. I was thinking about it this morning that the insurrection feels like it was yesterday, and it also feels like it was 1,000 years ago. How do you think, in this short news cycle world we live in now, say 10 years, 15 years from now, how is history going to remember this? Is it going to be as big of a deal as it was to us at the time, or is it going to be a footnote?
Well, I think it depends on who's in charge. 15 years from now, if the Republicans have been in charge for 12 years, it'll be looked back on as, probably make it a damn holiday. If American democracy survives it, it will be looked back on as a near-death experience, I think. One that said, this was as close as we'd come, and we can't take it for granted anymore. And I think, look, we've all, Oscar, was born into a society and, that could not take much of anything for granted, right? Let alone democracy. We have all grown up with it. We've never had to fight for it personally. In fact, 1% of the population serves in the military, right, at any given time now. So there's this lack of sort of cohesion about what's at stake because we've never had to worry about it.
Right.
And so, it's just like if you spoil your kid too much and suddenly you take something away from them, what happens? Like this massive tantrum. I don't want to dumb it down like that, but that's what happens, right? Is suddenly, either people, to Mike's point, say, I just want the noise to go away regardless of your political background. Or you say, well, it's really them. And I think that now is one of those times when, there are going to be partisans on both sides. I'm a partisan, right? I'm a pro-democracy partisan. I'm not a nonpartisan person, right? I may not be a Republican or a Democrat, but that doesn't make me nonpartisan. And so I think that as we look back on this, we can't forget what it means, but we should also use it as a reminder to know how close we came to losing something so valuable.
Right.
Reed, last question here. You say I'm neither a Republican or a Democrat. I'm pro-democracy. You hear a lot of talk about the two-party system, and that's part of the problem. What do you see in your crystal ball going forward as far as the political landscape and the potential of a third organization coming into existence, which I think might ultimately be the only way we get out of this?
So you're I guess, unlucky enough to talk to someone who actually tried to start a third party.
The Lincoln Party.
No, it was called the Serve America movement. This was even pre-Lincoln.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And we got exactly one ballot line in New York State, which will disappear this November because they changed the rules after we figured it out. To start a new party, you have to understand it's not like just planting a flag and saying, I have a new party. You can do that. That doesn't get you anything other than like a press release. Each state has its own rules, which I will not go through here because it will bore you to tears. Needless to say that as you go through it, some states like Louisiana, you sign a piece of paper, boom, you got a party. Some states like California, it takes $10 or $11 million to create one. Some states like Kentucky or Iowa, you can only create a new party when there's also a presidential campaign happening. So it's a very difficult thing. And then the last part, too, is because we're decades, centuries deep into a two-party system, if you ask people, do you want a third option? Like 75% of people say yes. If you said you have to choose from someone with an R behind their name, a D behind their name, an I for independent behind their name, who would you choose? It's like 28% say the independent. And so what happens is that because of and listen, let me be clear about this. Democrats, as much as they say they want a healthy Republican Party, do not want more competition any more than Republicans do. Right? Like they don't. Nobody wants more competition. It's a closed system, and they like it that way. The difference is, to your point, Mike, is that closed system, has basically become calcified and sclerotic, and it's not nimble enough or dynamic enough to account for what we're dealing with now. Is it possible? Anything's possible, right? I didn't think Donald Trump would get elected president. So if that can happen, a third party can happen, but it's much more difficult than people think.
I don't know, and no one has the answer for this. All I know is that when you consider individuals who, in many cases, were lifelong members of a certain party, but because of that word you used earlier, decency and fairness and a lot of other wonderful ideals, decided to start this Lincoln Project. And you, Reed, and all of your co-founders and your cohorts there, I just wish you nothing but love and support coming from me, because I think we need people like you, people that get it. And I just hope that I'm pro-democracy too. I love this country. I really, really love this country. And I just hope we can get through this tough time. We'll look back, long after I'm gone. This is a tough time in America with COVID and everything else, but continue to do the work you're doing. We appreciate your generous support of our podcast and to come on occasionally and chat with us. And sad day, sad anniversary, and I hope more people reflect on it. Reed Galen, always a pleasure to talk to you. Continued good luck with your operation out of Podville Media. If you want any more information, it's lincolnproject.us. And Reed, thank you for everything you do. Keep up with your hard work, my friend.
No, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Rob, and thanks, Oscar, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what it is, and he's on the front lines of that. We have to take a break. When we come back, we've got the homepage and more fun and more thrills coming up on the Mike O'Mara Show, and we'll lighten things up just a wee bit. I was laughing all day about Oscar's family. We'll get more to that in a second, but we felt with this anniversary originating in Washington, D.C., we had to talk about it a little bit. We'll come back with more fun, more thrills. You are listening to the Mike O'Mara Show.
Hello, friends. It's me, Jake the Snake, America's most beloved ball python, the greatest snake in history. Just a reminder, dear boy, don't forget to purchase the TMOS Bonus Show, an uncensored, commercial-free, extra TMOS episode every week. Costs only pennies and supports Mike and Rob and Oscar. It's the best. Buy it now at MikeO'MaraShow.com. And for those of you who say I sound like the Leesburg Vulture, listen. This is the voice Mike uses for all his creepy animals. So piss off. And thank you.
Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show, brought to you by Cornerstone First Financial. Did you know the second most popular New Year's resolution after getting in shape is saving money? So with the new year upon us and mortgage rates still at historic lows, you can use the equity in your home to cover your outstanding holiday expenses, pay off credit cards, or take cash out for any reason, all while making it tax deductible. But you have to work with a company you can trust. I trust my good friend Mark Livingstone and his team at Cornerstone First Financial. Let me tell you about Cornerstone. They are a direct lender. They have their own money, so they'll guarantee to meet or beat any competitor, even if you are working with another company. They're fantastic people over there. I've used them. Oscar's used them. Rob's used them. You can use them as a sounding board to make sure you're getting the best deal for you and your family, whether it's a purchase or refinance. Take my advice and call the team at Cornerstone First and make the one resolution that you can take to the bank. Cornerstone First Financial, serving the listeners of the Mike O'Mara Show for over 6 years. 202-625-1221. That's 202-625-1221. Or cornerstonefirst.com. And Happy New Year from Cornerstone First Financial, everybody.
From the four corners of the World Wide Web and into your digital device, it's what you need to know. This is the homepage.
This is the homepage. And are you obsessed with celebrities, people? Do you care? Do you care about the celebrities?
Desperately.
Well, I know you do. I'm going to say this slowly and deliberately so you can understand it. You're not that smart if you are. At least that's what some Hungarian researchers say. Listen up. They gave people an intelligence test and a questionnaire to gauge their level of celebrity worship.
All right.
And they determined that there is, quote, a direct association between celebrity worship and poorer performance on cognitive tests.
Oh, no, really?
What they could not determine was whether people become obsessed with celebrities because they're less intelligent, or if being obsessed with celebrities makes them less intelligent.
Actually dumbs it down for them.
I don't know. Well, let's go to our number one celebrity obsessor, Rob Spiewak. Do you think it makes you more dumb, or do you think you were dumb to start with?
It depends on the celebrity you worship.
Well, like who would be an intelligent celebrity?
Well, if you
worship,
say, I would say like a president. That would be, I mean, people that are into presidential
No.
trivia and stuff, I think that is probably a healthy.
No, I think you're really dumb if you worship Jerry Lewis. Let's move on, shall we? Anyway.
Get to the point.
Martha Stewart, speaking of celebrity worship, she is opening her first restaurant this spring at the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas.
Hey, that's terrific. I worship that.
Martha Stewart cracks me up. She has this, here's the way you fold the napkins. This is
Right.
the way it should work. It'll be called the Bedford by Martha Stewart.
It's
Can that
topless,
sound any
right?
more? It's named after her country house in Bedford, New York. She said, quote, "We have toyed with the idea for a long, long time. This is an opportunity to extend the brand in an area where I've always wanted to be, but never really did enter."
Her brand.
Is that Vegas? Martha is designing it, of course. Quote, "It's completely fashioned after the winter house at my farm in Bedford, where I basically live. There's a kitchen, a dining room, a brown room, and a green room." She said it's very similar in the finishes of my home, blah, blah, blah. She's still working on the menu. We don't have that yet.
Is there a
But
ladies' brown room and a men's brown room?
I have no idea. It says it'll include favorite items she cooks for her family and friends. Also, it's going to be based on, quote, freshness and availability. So ingredients will be sourced from local farmers, markets, and farms.
I've been talking about this forever. Mike, we're just coming off our fruitcake futures.
Whoa. Yes.
And if she can do this all the way from her home in Maine to Vegas, why can't we do farm to fruitcake next year?
Had a restaurant, don't like the food business, but maybe brownies. And by the way, I know that we're close to the margins on fruitcakes with our brand, but people love them.
They do.
You know what I
They're
mean?
very good.
And
They do.
They're very
good.
Well, you don't care. You don't want to do it. I know you don't want to do it.
No, he
don't
does.
want to do it.
He does.
Does he want to do it?
He does.
I don't want to
also-
deprive
The guy walks
people.
around
I thought Rob was just like, well, if you don't want to, that's
No,
fine.
he walks around like Jesus with his 2 loaves, but they're 2 fruitcakes, and he hands them out, and he feeds a village. You know how that's what he wants to do?
Did you feel the love over the break? And then we were talking right before we went on break. We were talking about the fruitcakes and how is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yes.
To do them. What?
It is absolutely worth the squeeze. And you know what? The people.
Well, you before the break when Oscar was saying we can't do it anymore, you were riding along with him. It's your
We
your
caught him
baby.
in the eye of the hurricane. Like he was there. He was in the middle of it. He was like, "Oh man."
How do you feel about this?
I was
going forward?
I was so pleased with this year's batch. I thought this year's batch was the best we've ever had.
The batch is getting rave reviews.
Yes.
I am saying that right before this is the last we talked about it. When I went to break, you guys were kind of making noise about that might have been the last year for the fruitcakes, and then I was talking about brownies, and it was like all this other
I was just
crap.
hoping to source some designer imposter almonds. That's all I was.
Okay, first of all, it's walnuts, not almonds.
You know what I mean.
And the best, you know what happens?
Whatever.
You know when the fruitcakes are best is when he stays far away from the fruitcake. He's really, you know what he is? He's an anchor.
Serious?
It's dragging a flippin' chained anchor to the bakery. When he
we
says,
talked about
hey, you know what? I don't know that we need to use real orange juice. Couldn't you use Tang?
All right. Since we have only talked about this publicly with my involvement,
Right.
I request a behind-the-scenes serious meeting about fruitcakes.
Yes.
Okay.
And an announcement soon to follow because I want it fresh in people's
And then
minds.
by the way, summit, a fruitcake
the
summit.
exactly,
Yes.
like a call to Putin, except it's fruitcakes. Did you get the ones I sent you, and how were yours this year?
They're spectacular. I think they got dropped off and were in my mouth within like 15 minutes.
There were some
Carla just
variants
opened it and
made
said
this
here.
year. There were some variants this year that I'm so flippin' happy with.
They were fantastic,
Yes.
as they always are. I will tell you that
No almonds.
Carla is much more of a squirrel when it comes to the fruitcake. She hides hers away in the freezer and said, "Don't touch it, don't touch it." They were fantastic.
Good.
2 meetings. All right, we will not have a meeting at the end of the show. I will go away. All right, 2 meetings this year. All right, 1, we'll have the fruitcake meeting. 2,
the fruitcake
Oscar,
summit, please. The
Fruitcake Summit on May 10th.
Yeah, this is, and I'm tasking Oscar with this. Oscar, at the end of the next meeting, have your brother and his little brother.
Yes.
I want the come to Jesus meeting about learning how to run the equipment.
It's
for once,
it's in my notes.
and for all. I do not want to yell, and this is me yelling, and I don't want to do it with our problems with Reed.
This is the new you.
Never again. All right.
Well,
I want a trainer. I don't want. Here's what I hate to see: when you come in at the last minute to do the show, and they've done the whole text of everything, and they hand you all the equipment. Oscar, do for us, because we don't give a rat's ass about our job. So here, do for me. That's what I don't want. There, that's the rant. Yes. You don't have to talk to me after the show today. Congratulations. Speaking of bad behavior, Antonio Brown says his crazy departure from last week's game against the Jets wasn't about the Tampa Buccaneers, what they want you to believe. It wasn't some crazy meltdown. It was Bruce Arians that said, "You're out of here." Anthony Brown issued a statement last night saying that he had a bum ankle and he was in contact with Coach Bruce Arians and the training staff about it over the week leading up to the game. When Brown said he couldn't play anymore, Arians had a fit. Brown said, quote, "He shouted at me, 'You're done,' while he ran his finger across his throat. Coach was telling me that if I didn't play hurt, that I was done with the Bucs." Arians has denied knowing anything about the ankle, but Antonio says he's lying. Now listen.
You play hurt.
But you play hurt, but however, listen, the world wants to jump on Antonio Brown. The narrative of Tom Brady saying, hope he gets the help he needs, this whole mental health thing about Antonio Brown. As much as I know that Antonio Brown has been a problem child no matter where he's gone, I believe in full disclosure. If this is even remotely true, Oscar, you got to have somebody who was on the sidelines that heard it, right?
The video evidence says otherwise. You don't trot off the field with your shirt off and wave to the fans if you're in agonizing pain and can't make football moves.
Okay. All right. I look for it. Now, you work for the ESPN and Dominique and all those guys. Yeah. I'd like to know more about this.
Dominique always wants to look at both sides, and I won't speak for him. Sides.
Well, I kind of do on this particular issue because everybody's going in one direction.
Mike, Antonio Brown's been in the league for how long, right? Almost a decade.
Million years.
If not more than that. You play hurt. You're on the field even as a decoy. No one knows you're hurt. You're just there because you're a possible threat, so you break up the defense.
Right.
The other side of this is that the next day, he's courtside at the Nets game, watching the Nets game.
Well, you can do that with a bum ankle.
Yeah, but there's no limp to his gait. He's walking around.
The truth lies in the middle, I'm sure.
Last part of this story, he says an MRI on Monday showed broken bone fragments stuck in my ankle, the ligament torn from the bone, and cartilage loss, which are beyond painful. Well, that's what he says. That's all. I'm just.
We all have it, just different degrees.
Yeah, when your ankle hurts, it always helps to take your shirt off.
We all have it.
Everybody.
My foot hurt yesterday.
Wackadoo.
Really bad. But my foot hurts really bad. If you've still got a festive fire hazard in your living room, it is a good day to get rid of it. Gotta give my wife credit for that tree was down right after New Year's Day. Bingo. Today is National Take Down Your Christmas Tree Day. Real trees only last about 4 or 5 weeks at best, so if you bought yours in early December, it is really a fire hazard. That's according to the National Fire Protection Association. They put out a statement telling people it's time to take it down.
Take it down.
They say almost a third of Christmas tree fires happen in January. If you got a fake tree, feel free to leave it up. You'll just look more and more like a Christmas-obsessed weirdo. A recent poll found the first week of January is the most popular time to take down your tree. 13% will do it later this month. 2% will leave their tree up until at least February.
You take it down on the 8th. January 8th is when you take it down.
That's according to Rob Spiewak, our resident Christmas tree expert.
Thank you.
Is this the most diabolical gift ever? There is a video making the rounds of a guy. It went viral. He gave his wife 2 sets of identical earrings for Christmas. But there was a big difference. One set had real diamonds, and the other had fake diamonds.
Oh, no.
And she had to choose which one she wanted. Even the packaging looked the same, and he said he'd return the ones she didn't pick. Her sister-in-law posted the video, and their whole family thought it was hilarious, especially after she ended up picking the fake ones. But did anybody get a check? That's what I want to know. Did anybody get an envelope with a check for Christmas? That's what I want to know.
The earrings were in an envelope, Mike. And they
haven't enjoyed a story that much.
Opened them up in the bedroom in the privacy of herself.
Not clear if he stuck to his guns or not. We don't really know, but who cares? Moving right along, the rumor mill, and I have to share this, even though I am not celebrity obsessed.
Yeah.
But I like this story. And, I get sucked into the whole Kardashian vortex occasionally because I just can't help myself.
That's the one that makes you dumb if you worship them. Yeah.
The rumor mill has started after fans noticed that Kim Kardashian unfollowed Miley Cyrus on Instagram. We are breaking down the details of when the initial follow happened on Kim K's part and when it appears that she hit the unfollow button.
Horrible.
Kim appeared to follow Miley on December 10th, 2021, after it was announced that Miley and Pete Davidson would be co-hosting their New Year's Eve special together. Kim and Pete have been romantically linked for the past several weeks. I think they're in the Bahamas together.
They are.
Oh, it's better there.
And January 4th, 2021, fans noticed that Kim unfollowed Miley, and it's unclear why. Look, just as a TV observer, I love the energy, the Pete Davidson
chemistry.
energy between Miley and Pete, and unfortunately, in the land of Kardashian, time stops for no one.
Yeah.
Well, also,
that's all I wanted to say.
It's with all due respect to, and I don't know what the correct reference is, but she's essentially throwing her, D down on the table and saying he's mine.
That's the correct terminology.
He's mine.
Yes.
And we're flying off on my private jet to the Bahamas. I'm getting him as far away from you as possible.
Yeah, and I watched the Miley show and was raving about it because I thought it was so entertaining, and then I didn't realize that over on CNN, I missed the whole Andy Cohen drunken rave.
I don't like Bill de Blasio. I don't like him.
On watch what happens now last night, which I haven't caught in forever until I was like, let me see what he's doing. He's got 3 people on TVs because everybody's remote.
Right.
His voice is like
still fried.
4-day hangover voice.
Sayonara, sucker.
Mike, what he said was so harmful, I unfollowed him on Instagram.
There you go. Way to go. Good job, Kim. And now a little something in China. In China. A woman dropped almost $16,000 on drones to celebrate her dog's birthday with an elaborate aerial light show. The woman, who has not been identified, rented 520 flying machines to form the message, "Happy 10th Birthday, Dodo." I don't know whether it's Dodo or Dow or Doo-Doo. It's D-O-U-D-O-U.
Dodo.
Anyway, she flew them in the sky over the river where she lives, the river in China. The drones then flew in formations that... Somebody just fly a private jet up our street?
No, Mike, they're wishing Dodo a happy birthday on your street.
It's the Dodo
So
drones.
they formed the light. I saw a picture. It was very pretty.
Yeah.
She apparently chose the number 520 on purpose because its Mandarin pronunciation sounds similar to the phrase, "I love you."
Oh, that's nice.
I'm shocked there wasn't a Nate involved.
Love you. Anyway, it didn't go over too well with authorities, and you have to be aware, from my reading of authorities in China,
yes,
they have a lot of power. They said they would have shot down the drones because they violated no-fly zones in the nearby high-rises. An official told the news outlet that people must seek police approval before flying drones in residential areas. So there's that. The dog was visibly moved by the drone display and even showed his lipstick to the partygoers.
Oh, God.
Dodo's
lipstick.
I have never had the opportunity. I've never had the opportunity to say showed his lipstick in a news.
It shows enthusiasm on the dog's part.
Homepage. We'll take a break. Back more lipstick right here.
And now, Tales of Aviation History with TMOS P1 listener, Captain Joel Rogers.
Well, folks, from the flight deck, this is Captain Joel Rogers. On behalf of all 61 members of your Frankfurt-based flight crew, it's been a pleasure having the 36 of you on board our transatlantic flight today. We've begun our initial descent into the New York area where the weather is scattered clouds and isolated thunderstorms. As a reminder, instead of duty-free shopping on your arrival, why not visit the Mike O'Mara Show shopping center for all your in-flight needs? Target and Walmart have everything for your comfort and onboard snacking. Visit MikeOmeraShow.com and click the banner to place an order. Because of the headwinds extending our flight time to 77 hours, the local time is 7:25 p.m. on May 6th, 1937. Let me be the first to welcome you to Manchester Township, New Jersey. We know you have a choice in rigid airship travel, and we thank you for flying to Hindenburg.
Still my favorite.
I love
Still
it.
my favorite
Love
promo.
it.
Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show. With how much we rely on our devices, it's easy to forget about the hardware that we're born with, like our ears. Just like fingerprints, no two are exactly alike. That's why your earbuds probably cause you so much discomfort or even physical pain after a while. Ultimate Ears Fit's true wireless custom-fit earbuds from Ultimate Ears are here to change all that. You get a guaranteed perfect fit in 60 seconds. They stay put, and they feel great. Ultimate Ears Fits actually physically mold to your ear for a perfect fit. Just put them in, connect to the app, and watch the purple LEDs transform the earbuds to your own shape. You can play and pause music and answer calls with built-in controls and so much more. I use them. I love them. If you try Fits and don't love them as much as we do, no worries. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus free shipping, free returns, and a 1-year warranty. Use promo code TMOS at UE.com/fits to get your pair of UE Fits for just $169 during their holiday sale. That's UE.com/fits, promo code TMOS, and they are great earbuds, and you are going to love them. Finally, we get a moment to talk about the magic box that we love so bad, and the world was talking about the movie Don't Look Up on Netflix over the break. I was personally waiting for it because I just love Jennifer Lawrence and I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I was just excited about this.
And you love Jonah Hill.
I love Jonah Hill. Spectacular. I have to tell you, I did not know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be a comedy, straight comedy.
Right.
Didn't know if it was going to be, I didn't know it was going to be a parody of Idiocracy, really, and what we live in right now. But once you clue into that, it takes about 5 seconds. I was totally entertained. I thought it was beautifully done and had a real message about people not caring and how. What would we be living in, guys? A contrarian society now where if somebody from the other team decides something is real, we have to decide that it's fake? I don't believe that necessarily.
Well, I think outrage drives the views. Whether it's mock outrage or real outrage, that's what happens. It doesn't even matter if there's substance behind it.
Can I give you really, since I'm thinking about this right now, and since we had Reed in earlier, here's what I think, and tell me what you think. If you think my theory is BS, just let me know. Here's how I feel about it. I think that we underestimate the power of the ruling class in this country. The congressmen, the governors, the senators, and everybody. And I believe that you have truly evil political animals now that literally make their mind up that if a certain piece of evidence or information comes from a certain part of the world, they're going to go the opposite way just to make hay. To make their political hay. That's where we're living right now.
Well,
Truth doesn't matter.
And also simplification has a lot to do with it. I had a really great poli-sci professor. I took 3 classes with him through college. And he said one of the reasons that Jimmy Carter was viewed as a failed politician is he was so smart that he looked at every variance of a problem in shades of gray, not black and white. He said the people that succeed in politics dumb it down to a yes-no, right-wrong situation, and they give you that. And that's it, because that's easy to digest.
Easy.
And people love easy. And I think one of the only things that I didn't like about Don't Look Up, it made me unsettled because it was so spot on of how stupid we are. It it points to you as the viewer.
It underscores it.
Yeah, it
you
says,
big dummy.
Hey, you big dummy. This is you. You did this. You're living in this. But if you can take yourself out of the fact that you're being called an idiot, it is such a scathing commentary.
One of my undergrad humanities classes at WVU, by the way, we had a wonderful professor that broke down the story about a village, and there was an animal called a rack that they essentially completely destroyed.
Did you take notes during this class?
Yeah, yes, I did take notes.
Right. Did the rack have a lipstick?
No. The rack said, they love this animal so much that they destroyed their whole ecosystem for it. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So you're going through this it's like a effing 4-hour class, and you're like, these dumb mother effers and this rack. Who cares?
I want to find out what a rack is.
It's
like
car.
A buffalo or something?
It's a car.
He said an animal, didn't he?
I know, but the story for us, the written word was a car. How we took a car to our society and combustible engine, and how we destroyed our environment.
It's an allegory.
It's an allegory.
Aha.
All right, so he's saying that we have done a lot of damage to our society for the combustion automobile.
Yes.
Right.
All right, I get it. I get it. I think Don't Look Back was highly entertaining and worthwhile and great acting.
Did you see it as a parallel to global warming? Did you see it as a parallel to the pandemic? Or did you just see it as something as overall?
I saw it as a wonderful satirical look at our society of division today, the human condition that we're living in, where no matter what evidence, even the evidence of the death of a planet is thrown out on TV, you're going to get people that, well, that's not what I think, because that's the way we roll now.
Because Ron Perlman can fix it.
Yes, because he's big and he's tough
Powerful.
And he's mean.
He yelled at children.
And look, I thought, you know what? It was extremely funny.
Yeah.
But
scary.
It was such a pointed satire that it made me uneasy because, God almighty, you leave Don't Look Up, which, by the way, everybody should watch this movie.
Yeah.
You leave that movie saying, this could happen. This
Absolutely.
could happen because of idiots.
Yeah.
Or it is already happening. We've got an example today talking about our threat to our democracy, which some people say, well, no, it didn't come from my team, so it's
popularity
not a
went up
threat.
8 points when I started smoking.
It is uncomfortable, Mike. Just even if we're talking about the politics and different views, DC and for better or worse, we're surrounded by different viewpoints, and I feel like there's a nice balance here. Yeah. But then you go to Los Angeles, and in certain zip codes, you're like, interesting, interesting, interesting.
As far as politically,
yes,
yeah. It's a different world out there.
Different
it's
world.
a microcosm of the United States. Got their very red counties that are out there, and then you've got people say, "Oh, California, well, that's only California. California, that."
Well,
but anyway,
everyone went out there, and they only had to stop because there was an ocean. They couldn't go any further.
Yeah, the crazies couldn't fall into the Pacific Ocean. So would we collectively 3 thumbs up for that film?
Yes.
Double thumbs up.
Yes.
What was
Check
so
it
funny
out.
is when we watched it on, Carrie and I watched it on Netflix, the next day I found out Robert was watching it in his bedroom on his phone. He said, if I had known, I would have watched it on the big screen with you. But I mean, it really does. It translates.
He's a thinker.
Well, he's a smart boy.
We'll get to him maybe
But
later.
there's no need. But the thing is that it really does.
Certainly don't want to go there again. I really don't.
I mean, whether you're 19 or whether you're 50 or whether you're 60, I mean, it's a great message. He loved the movie too. And
check it out. Don't Look Up.
Yes.
We'll come back. We'll talk about the other 2 that I want to mention to you. One real good one. I know Rob's got a couple he wants to talk about, and then I want to talk about my cousin's new movie called Mass.
I want to see this.
Oh my God, heavy. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More of that, and also a review of the Ricardos.
Being the Ricardos.
When we come back right here on the Mike O'Mara Show. It's TV Day.
Happy birthday. It's cold outside, Karen, so I wanted to remind you to visit the TMOS shopping center, Target, and Walmart. They'll never be frosty when they greet you, and they have everything you need this winter. Corn cob pipes, red and yellow scarves, enchanted top hats. They even have space heaters. But don't buy that, Karen, or I'll have to kill you. I'm serious. Just access Target and Walmart through the Mike O'Mara Show website.
Serious?
And you'll be back again someday if Frosty doesn't murder you.
Thank you.
Where did that
I
come
played that for Oscar yesterday. He says, man, a little dark.
Very dark. Frosty threatening murder. It's a weird world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show. This portion of our program brought to you by Liquid IV. The new year is here, and there is no better way to kick off 2022 than by making sure you're feeling like your best self-self. And I will be doing just that with the help of my favorite hydration product, Liquid IV. I had a little cold over the break, and we use the Liquid IV. Do I have it? Is it the hydration multiplier and immune therapy?
Yeah, that's the tangerine one, right?
I lived on
so
it.
good. So good.
During the holiday. All you need is one stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water. It hydrates faster and more efficiently than water alone. Plus, Liquid IV has incredible hydration flavors. It's so good. Watermelon, lemon lime, strawberry, pina colada, and more. What makes Liquid IV so effective? CTT, cellular transport technology. That is the optimal ratio of glucose, sodium, and potassium to deliver water and nutrients to the bloodstream super fast. Plus, Liquid IV is out to change the world by donating to hospitals, first responders, veterans, and active military. Liquid IV has donated over 19 million servings globally, and that is awesome. Grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TMOS at checkout.
Yes.
You can go right through our website.
Do it!
That's 25% off anything you order when you use promo code TMOS at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today at liquidiv.com, promo code TMOS. Okay, so my cousin Ann Dowd, who has actually been gracious enough to come on this show and talk about how we are related. I still don't remember how exactly. I believe it's on
She's your sister.
It is. She is not my sister, Rob. That's a lie. That's but when I say that's a lie, I like to say it for the mommy dearest daughter. That's a lie.
Diana Scarlett.
I think 23andMe is still trying to figure it out.
No, I think you are a second cousin. I believe that's what it was.
My maternal grandmother's sister married her. My maternal grandmother's sister was her grandmother.
So I believe that makes you second cousins. I think that's what it is.
And if we say it like that, maybe we'll believe it. But
that's
anyway, Ann Dowd.
a lie.
Oh my God, Ann Dowd and this movie Mass. Where to begin?
Not a sequel to Jim Carrey. You say Mask or Mass?
No, Mass.
Mass, like church.
As in a church service.
Excuse me.
I won't bore you with the details or spoiler alerts, but I will tell you that it is a heavy subject about grief, and
she doesn't do a lot of light projects, your cousin.
But she's brilliant.
She's
she
so
elevates
good.
anything. She elevates anything she's in.
Well, she did the facts of life.
Well, yeah, but even that, she was. You know what? She was.
Yeah, but she was funny in that, right?
Yeah, but she was also the only person that really sort of committed and made it and have any sort of value. She was so good in it. She elevated that project, which is a stupid project. Yeah.
She was fantastic in this. You've got a wonderful cast, and I think you should. There
was Oscar buzz starting for it even as far back as I think November.
I'm trying to think. Martha Plimpton is the other mother that plays in this, and it's four people coming together after a horrible shooting tragedy. That's what it's about.
Oh my God!
And it's just if you've ever wondered. As I have, about how parents in that situation respond on both sides, the parents of the evildoer and the parents of the victims. Just watch this. It is heart-wrenching and totally an actor's vehicle. You rely on the actors. I cannot begin to recommend this highly enough. It is so phenomenal. It's called Mass. I think it's Amazon, or maybe I'm not sure. Well, can somebody look up and tell me what it's on?
You can get it on Amazon Prime. You can get it on YouTube, and you can get it
Amazon
on Google
Prime
Play.
is where I watched it.
Reed, Bernie, and Jason Isaacs are the male leads. How are they?
Jason Isaacs, who is most famous for the horrible British soldier in The Patriot, the really nasty guy. That's what he's most remembered for. And who's the other actor? He's been in a lot of stuff. Actor.
Reed Bernie is his name.
Reed Bernie, who's also good. Just marvelous. Please. But if you're looking for
Charlie Bernie's cousin.
Charlie Reed Bernie. We have cousins all over the
hand
place.
to God.
Seriously?
I'm not making this up. They're family.
What, the actor?
Yes.
So this is a Bernie
This
related
is
to
a
Charlie
Bernie.
And what's his name again?
Reed Bernie.
Yeah, Reed Bernie.
Another Reed. We had Reed Galen. Now we have Reed Bernie.
Yeah.
And Mike, also, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Brita Wool as Judy.
I just looked at his picture. I'm like, I know that guy. Yeah. Oh, that's Charlie Bernie's cousin.
So check it out. Yeah. I think you'll love it
what are the
as
odds,
much
Mike?
as we did.
Family members and business partners.
It's truly, there he is. There's Charlie, but that's well done.
What, another white
guy? So last thing, and I'll defer to Rob. Rob Spiewak early in the break we had was talking about how excited he was to watch Being the Ricardos.
Almost like they designed a project for me. Like they said.
Yeah, because it had nostalgia, it had modern actors, it was looking back, it was everything. You panned it early on. I looked in to see it anyway. Oh my!
I gave it 12 minutes before. I eventually watched the whole thing, but I bailed after about 15 minutes.
You bailed on it?
At the first time I watched it.
Was it too real, too raw?
No, it was not. It
horrible.
It was horrible. For one thing, it was inaccurate, and also it
was inaccurate.
For one thing,
Javier Bardem.
If you base the whole underpinning of the plot. No, the whole underpinning of the plot is that Desi Arnaz was so charismatic and attractive that he made everything work. And Javier Bardem looks like a flippin' horror movie.
Javier Bardem, one of the greatest performances in No Country for Old Men.
Great actor.
One of the greatest performances in cinematic history, in my opinion. But when Javier Bardem, someone says, come in and do a Cuban accent, and he's got a thick accent anyway, he was unintelligible.
We are on two different pages.
And also,
really?
He did not have the charisma of Desi Arnaz.
Who remembers that?
Everett. It was only the #1 show on television for a decade.
How long ago?
How long ago? 1950.
Yeah, 50
Why did you like it?
Ago.
You liked it?
I sat there, and this is what my sister said. I'm watching with my sister and my mom, the two hens and me. I'm sitting there, and my sister says, he's so great in every movie, Mom, don't you think? And my mom's like, he's so dashing. Like, they're into it. They bought in. They love the movie.
There is a flaw in a movie.
And we're Latin.
After you watch it, the most intelligent and exciting character is Ethel Mertz. That's the problem. The focus.
Ethel Mertz was too. They glommed her up too much. Ethel Mertz, Vivian Vance was not attractive.
You're right.
Not even close to attractive.
You guys
and they make it. And they make her out to be frustrated because they're not making her sexy enough on the show.
Right.
So if that's going to be a fact, right? Then what you do to be real about it. I'm old enough to remember this show. What you do, because I watch reruns of it. What you do is you make the absurdity of Vivian Vance if she really, as the movie shows you, wanted to be portrayed as a sex symbol. I thought it was absurd.
It was. You guys are, with all due respect, and I respect both your opinions.
We're the TV historians.
You're so close to the subject matter. You understand it so much better than most people. If you're a casual viewer, you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that there was, the McCarthyism, like it didn't.
All the facts were there, but the facts were bent. That all didn't happen.
I get it, but if you don't know the facts are bent, you're watching a movie, and between the two foreigners and me, we're like, oh, look at this.
Your mother must have remembered I Love Lucy coming to this country, right?
Yeah, but we watched it in reruns, and we didn't have the insight that you all have about Lucy. Just properly.
You can't present it as fact. You can't present it as fact if it's not fact.
They do, though.
They do.
And my mom was telling my dad, she's like, you were acted like Desi sometimes. And my dad's like, what are we doing? What did you have her watch? Like, this is, she's like piling on him during some un cafecito.
Oh, I see. He was acting like Desi sometimes. That's not good in that particular movie.
I was like, what don't I know?
That's right.
Don't cash that check. What don't I know?
Oscar's dad did not invent the 3-camera system.
The one thing that I heard in the entire film, and it was early because I bailed on it early on, is when Lucy says to one of the writers, I don't do jokes, I do physical comedy. Mm-hmm. And if that was the truth, and I could be, maybe that's why I hated it so much, because there wasn't any writing.
It's dark.
In I Love. There wasn't any writing at all in I Love
and
Lucy.
Also,
it was stupid.
It was a tremendous example of playing down to the audience, where like there was an actual line when it says, I know we all know who everyone is here at the table, but let's introduce ourselves. And then in front of them, there's a card that says who they are. We can figure out that he's a writer.
help me. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, oh, I remember that. Okay, that's who that is.
It was miscasting putting Javier Bardem in the role of Desi
Nicole Kidman
Arnaz.
was great.
She's great in everything she does.
You know what?
I love Nicole Kidman. I thought she was a great Lucy. That's the only
her
redeeming
voice
but I didn't watch it. Yes.
was eerily accurate. Her voice was eerily
she's
accurate.
great.
Yeah.
She is an actor that elevates everything. She puts her name on.
And
I
the
think she's
insurance
amazing.
pitchman was good as Fred.
You mean J.K.
what's his
Simmons?
name? Simmons, not Rowling. No, but
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, he was a good Fred Mertz.
Just
I
one
thought.
quick end. Still strange to see sex scenes with your family around.
Oh, that's for sure.
I was like, oh, this is a little graphic at the beginning.
Yeah, at least they didn't show any boobies.
They showed Javier's.
That's our TV corner. We have run out of time. We have to take a break. We've had 2 days to put together a stunning Soundtown.
Mike,
I hope it's great.
Everyone mask up because we're going to take a trip to Soundtown.
Right. That's exciting. We'll take a break and come right back. You are listening to the Javier Bardem, Mike O'Mara show.
You're acting just like Desi, Mike.
That's right. I'll do a line, one of his lines.
Print it. Print it.
Hey, y'all, I'm Luke Bryan.
Hi, America, this is Luke Bryan, and I won't be satisfied till I get every one of your redneck dollars in my wallet.
I'm here with Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and he wears real tiny little jackets.
This is going to work, right? I mean, this is going to be good. Right?
I make my own beer. It tastes like...
Take it from country music doofus Luke Bryan.
Hi, this is Luke Bryan, and I never shave my neck.
From shiny new licorice hats to red Solo cups,
I've got goose flesh.
The Mike O'Mara Shopping Center has got you covered for all your hillbilly shopping needs.
Golly.
Just click the shopping center banner at MikeO'MaraShow.com. Ain't that right, Luke?
That dang old internet, man. Click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Welcome back to the Mike O'Mara Show. It's 2022, and guess what? The O'Maras have their 4,000th.
What's that?
Let me start that again. It's 2022, and guess what?
What?
The O'Maras have their 4,000th Sleep Number bed in their home. Yes.
Nice.
I love Sleep Number more than ever. This year, resolve to make sleep your number one goal. Whether you've set out to exercise more, eat healthier, or be a better parent, most of your resolutions will benefit from quality sleep like I got last night on my brand new, shiny Sleep Number bed. Quality sleep is important for overall health, performance, and mental well-being. Carla cannot stop going on about the bed. Well, she likes the fact that we took out the split platform. She likes the fact that she can dominate the marital bed now. That sounded dirty. Anyway, Sleep Number, you're going to love it. I will tell you about our Sleep Number bed now. It is the greatest thing is because she has her side and I have my side. And I tend to tumble a little bit when I'm in bed, and I don't disturb her at all. Getting better quality sleep can help you make healthier decisions in the kitchen, too. And the more you sleep, the better you exercise, because you've got the energy when you wake up in the morning. And the more you exercise, the better you sleep. The better you sleep, the better you feel, and then you're ready for it. No, that's another
It's good,
limerick.
though. It's a good cycle.
It's a nice cycle. So set a consistent bedtime and wake time. Work out, eat smaller meals more frequently, limit cocktails, minimize stress. Get outdoors when you can. But the best advice, be like me, get a Sleep Number bed. I wouldn't sleep on anything else. A great day starts the night before. My Sleep Number setting is now a 70. Carla holding steady at a 65. I love it. Discover special offers now for a limited time at your local Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com/TMOS. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Hit the Soundtown thing.
Did you hear that?
Listen, what's that
Soundtown.
The big sound in the big
All right, play it now. Let's do it.
new sound.
Come on. Come on.
What a sound.
All right, enough with the intro. Okay. Soundtown. Come on.
Soundtown.
Come on.
Before he was shilling reverse mortgages to old people, Tom Selleck was doing commercials way back almost 30 years ago. This is crazy. This was trending yesterday. In 1993, Tom Selleck did an AT&T commercial, and he talked about the future. And it is so dead on, it's creepy. Check this out. Remember, this is 1993, and they're talking about this stuff like it's science fiction.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away?
Kindle.
Across the country, without stopping for directions?
Waze.
Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down?
Speed pass.
Bought concert tickets from a cash machine?
Internet.
You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to?
Science fiction.
The minute you wanted to?
Netflix.
Have you ever kept an eye on your home when you're not at home?
Ring.
Or gotten a phone call?
Hello. How was your day?
On your wrist? Beautiful. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you? AT&T.
Your true voice.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy loud.
But I mean, almost everything he said there that seemed back then
prophetic.
It's weird that they got
but
it.
not necessarily all brought to you by AT&T.
No, but it all exists now.
But Mike, if
that might be a lot.
Yeah, no, but
Diana Scarwood.
At the beginning they had to break up AT&T because it was so massive.
Yeah,
Ma Bell, Mike.
Ma Bell.
They laid the pipe.
And if you have American Telephone and Telegraph as your internet provider, you need that pipe.
This is true. You need to lay that pipe.
That's right. And you know what he didn't predict is lipstick.
Yes, I got to say that. That's been multiple times in the show.
Mike, do you still love the artist Genuine?
Oh my
Genuine.
God! I've
Throwback.
got all his.
Colleges.
I have all his 8 tracks.
Well, you're gonna love the fact that one of his songs, which is called Pony, mashes up perfectly with the theme to one of your favorite shows, Secession. Here it comes. Check it out.
That's a neat sound effect.
Yeah.
I like that. That's easy on the ear, and that's what it's all about with hit records now.
Yeah.
Sound.
Yeah.
We're going full bore, Mike.
Ball on the floor. Now piss off.
I love Nicolas Cage, and I like when he speaks because he doesn't always, come out and say stuff. Do you remember a little while ago when someone videotaped him or put out on the internet singing Purple Rain in a karaoke bar?
Yes.
And mashing it up like really terrible.
Yeah. He says that it made him sad, and he's quit karaoke.
For me, karaoke was like therapy. I until someone videotaped my punk rock version of Prince's Purple Rain, and it went everywhere, and I said, I'm not going karaoke anymore.
No, that is don't steal the gift from the world. Right. You need to keep giving.
Karaoke, singing is therapy, I think. Absolutely. Karaoke is supposed to be private, It's like a prayer.
How many cocktail sessions do you think Nicolas Cage bloviating went down where it was, Nick, that's a really, before he became a full-fledged wackadoodle that he could say anything he wants, was like, it's therapy.
So interesting.
Wouldn't you love to be part of one of those drinking sessions?
That's a no.
Really, you wouldn't drink with Nicolas Cage?
Of course I'd drink with Nicolas Cage.
Get married and tell you how he was almost Superman.
I was
Elvis was my father-in-law.
In my career, I've been in maybe 4 of those moments where you're around someone famous who's holding court.
Okay.
The Dylan boys were in one of them one time in a Sheraton, I think.
Okay.
That, I sat. And celebrities are usually surrounded by sycophants that think anything that comes out of their pie hole is completely legit. And so if you've got that forever, like Nicolas Cage has, you can sit in a room and go, I really think that a fly is the key to our society's health. And so a guy will go, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
In Face Off, they wanted to take my face off. But I said, wait.
It's his favorite Nicolas Cage movie, right? Face Off.
In Moonstruck, it really wasn't a fake hand. It was.
I actually had plastic molded. No, but it's giving his theories of life and celebrity. Well, I kind of do it on this show, but I don't expect people like you guys. You don't sit by and let me bloviate on something that's wrong. No,
we yell at
you know
each
what
other.
I mean?
Well, you also don't say singing is therapy.
Well, singing, but hey, maybe it really is therapy? Anyway, all right.
Congratulations, Chad Davis. No, not because you have a beard that goes down to your balls, but because even though you lost your Tennessee Titans themed wedding ring at a football game, it was brought back to you. This guy is a big Titans fan.
Who is he?
He's just a fan. Just a fan. He thinks.
Oh, I thought he was somebody we might know.
No, but he has a ring. His wedding ring was actually had the Tennessee Titans insignia in it. So obviously he loves his wife. Yeah, but he loves the Titans, and he got his ring back, Mike.
Apparently I got a little excited from the Titans victory. So it had to come off, I'm sure, during the high fives, the celebration, and just rolled right down 2 or 3 rows in front of me. Good grief, man. I mean, the CEO of Titans sent me the message that said they found it. I mean, really? That's why I love this team so much. I'm blessed to have the friends I have in the Titans community. I get emotional talking about my family.
Oh, God.
Just the reaction I was hoping
The CEO
for.
of Titan
CEO
Company,
of
Brondo.
You know what he didn't do, Mike? He didn't look up.
I think we can mine it for gold.
Okay.
Sorry, there's a spoiler alert.
That's
Sorry
all right.
about that.
Let's close with this. Now, Mike, do you remember when Jonathan Winters passed away, there was a footage of him going around where he did an improv on the Jack Parr show holding a stick and all the things he could do with a stick, right? And he was a great improviser, Jonathan Winters. So this is an outtake that was trending yesterday on Instagram of Robin Williams with a stick on Sesame Street with Elmo. And it's funny because it is an outtake and it does go wrong. And it makes me miss Robin Williams just a little more because he's starting to improvise with a stick, but it doesn't go the way he wants it to.
Mr. Williams!
Elmo.
What are you going to do with that stick?
Oh, there's lots of things you can do with this stick, Elmo. Hey, maybe you can be playing hockey with it, like...
Yeah, I've been a goalie now for about 3 years, and it hasn't affected me.
Maybe it could be like a baton. There you are, conducting a full orchestra. Thank you, Madonna, for that lovely lingerie melody. I better go back. We'll never be able to do that. I realize.
Or it could be a cane. Well, Nancy and I are just happy to be here. Stuff like that, you know, Elmo, just simple things.
Whoa.
And, you know, I told you I'm going to do with this stick.
What?
I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Robbins.
Mr. Robbins? Taking the stick back, Elmo.
I only had 3 lines!
That's all I got, Mike.
That's awesome.
Leading sound.
3 lines.
I only have 3 lines.
3 lines. Elmo, you blew it. Anyway, we got to take a break. Our thanks to Reed Galen from the Lincoln Project for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure. Check them out. A great podcast that originates right from Podville Media in our nation's capital. And there's the grand poobah right there. Oscar Santana of Podville. That's really, really wonderful.
Send him an envelope.
We'll be back with a fabulous bonus show tomorrow. More fun and more thrills right here. We might do a follow-up on our last bonus show of the year, just to find out how everybody's doing.
Put a button on it.
That's tomorrow. For Rob Spiewak and Oscar Santana, this is Mike O'Mara saying, take care of yourself. Make yourself look presentable. Always put on your lipstick. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Want more? Make sure you check out the Mike O'Mara Bonus Show. Get it at MikeO'MaraShow.com.
Mike O'Mara, Radio Entertainment.
Sayonara, sucker! Go playing golf and you're going to like it. What about my asthma? I'll give you asthma.
Well, I don't get. I got to break the income, but they're.